Zoom. Give me just a minute and I will do my best to get things set up. So you should be able to see me now. Can anybody hear me? Uh, Probably I should let you in. I'm going to jump in and let folks come into the meeting. Give me just a second. Okay. I am doing something new today. I'm actually in my home office for the first time. Going to admit everyone. Okay, so hey everybody. Welcome back. I missed you. Can anybody hear me? Can anybody hear me? I'm using a totally different setup. I'm working from home today. So let's see who's on the call. Uh, hey, Elizabeth, can you hear me? Let's see. You can now send. Okay, let's see. Chat. I can't hear you. Huh. That's a bummer. So I guess you, Tanya, can you hear me? Tanya, can you hear me? I see you, Tanya. Mercy, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Okay, give me a second. I have to figure out what's going on. Mike. Hmm. Uh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Elizabeth, can you hear me? Tanya, can you hear me now? Tanya, can you hear me? Oh, man. Okay, give me a minute. Give me just a minute. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. If you can hear me, say something. Oh, bummer. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Tanya, can you hear me? No? Testing, testing. Nice stretch. Mike. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Let's go to Zoom. Must be Zoom, Zoom, preferences, preferences, audio. Testing, 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 testing. Can you hear me now? Throw in, if you can hear me, jump in and leave a message in the chat. I can hear you on YouTube Live, not on Zoom meeting. Hey, that's awesome, Muskin. Thanks for telling me that. I think I may have just solved it. If you're on the Zoom call, uh, leave a chat in if you can hear me. Mercy, can you hear me? Tanya, can you hear me? Any sound? Still no sound. Still no sound. Oh, bummer. Okay, I'm terribly sorry. I'm jumping into preferences and oh got the wrong microphone. Test mic, test, test. Okay. It looks like I have good mic. One new message. Okay, so you guys, if you can't hear me in the Zoom call, I can hear you on YouTube. I don't know what to say except let's just go with YouTube, but let's see if I can get everybody to jump in on the YouTube channel. I am very sorry. I set up a new studio at my house, and this is my first time to go live. Thanks for the link there, Fernanda. I'm going to copy that, send it to everyone, and suggest we go. Let's jump onto the YouTube channel. I just sent the link. We have audio there. Okay, we send that to everybody, and then we will resume or begin. Everyone publicly. Okay, I think everybody should have gotten that one. So, okay, Tanya, are you going? Can you hear me? Stay on the Zoom call. Well, no, you can't do both, I guess. I was hoping. It's hard for me to interact. Do we log in, write our name, time on YouTube again? No need to do that. Can you hear me on Zoom? Anyone? Tanya, I'm assuming you cannot hear me on Zoom. No? Do you hear me? Do you hear me on Zoom? No? No need. You don't need to sign in again on. Okay, I'm going to jump over. I'm just going to jump in and get started on YouTube. So, again, I'm very sorry. I don't know what's going on. We'll try and get it fixed. Let's see. Testing. So I see sound. So here we go. I'm so sorry if you're in the Zoom meeting and you're unable to hear me. This is going live to Facebook and YouTube. I'm assuming I do have confirmation that you can hear me on YouTube. So I'm assuming you can hear me on Facebook as well. I'm going to jump in and see if I can get to our page here real quick. And so if you're on our Facebook page or on moneystudygroup.com, you'll be able to see the live stream, which is going to Facebook. So I'm going to just jump in and make sure that that link is working. It should be. I'm not sure what's going on. We're having some difficulty with the, well, actually, let's go to the Facebook page. It's actually the Facebook page that I want to check real quick to see if it's streaming. So it does say it's live now. I'm going to see if I can hear sound. That's probably going to make a mess. Yeah, I'm not hearing sound on Facebook. So here we go. Let's just jump in. Tanya, are you good? Can you hear me? Yes or no? You can? Okay, cool. You're the only face I see right now, Tanya. I see a bunch of images, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. So if you're on the Zoom meeting, read my lips, go to YouTube. Thank you. So what I want to do today is just catch us up. I missed you guys last week. It was a week we had a little hurricane. I hope you were all well. was well. But the office that I work in, I have an awesome office at the University of Houston, the Technology Bridge, Technology Bridge, and all of the buildings were closed at U of H. So that was a problem. I wasn't able to broadcast, and obviously, some of you had things going on because of the hurricane and the disruption. And so, since U of H shut down, we didn't have class. So, we have to catch up. So, I'm going to tell you how we're going to catch up today. And I'm also going to just kind of highlight this week's assignment. And for next week's assignment, I'll just tell you we're going to combine two assignments so that we don't get behind. So let me jump in and just give you a picture of this week's assignment. So this week's assignment will be a parental interview. So this is what I'm going to be posting. You'll see this in Blackboard very soon, later today, as soon as I finish this call. So I just want to, this is one of the most important assignments you're going to have this semester. So I want to just talk about this assignment for a minute. This assignment is an opportunity for you to interview a parent or a grandparent or an uncle, aunt or uncle. So the goal of this assignment is for you to reach out to someone who you respect, someone you admire, who you believe has demonstrated an effective way of managing money. Someone that you know would be best, someone in your family would be really good, but primarily, I want to make sure that you know this assignment requires you to interact with someone who's older than you. So if you send me the assignment and you interviewed your roommate, you will get a deduction, like a huge deduction. If you interview your cousin, you're going to get a deduction. So every semester I get students who say, hey, my cousin, my roommate, they're a great interview. I really wanted to interview. That's great. You can do that. But it's going to cost you 50% of your grade. So this is an opportunity, this assignment, to interview a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, someone that you respect, someone that you admire, someone you look up to. And here's what I'm hoping that happens for this week's assignment for you. And again, this is one of the most important assignments you're going to have this semester. So you're going to interact with, you're going to have an interview. It can be by phone, Zoom, in person. Wear a mask if you're in person, I guess. I'm not wearing a mask if I talk to well, you decide if you want to wear a mask. But it can be on the phone. You know, you can do this by text. I know a lot of times students do this by text message, and that's not really great. They don't really tell me they did it by text, but I really would encourage you to have this interview. It's best to do it in person. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, first of all, recognize that you're going to be asking some questions. These questions are all going to be outlined in the assignment. So one of the things you're going to do, don't forget your quiz in Money Study Group. You'll put that into your article, your summary. But I want you to ask the person that you're interviewing some very important questions. So the questions are, again, outlined in the assignment that you'll see in Blackboard in just a few minutes. But the first question it relates to your first memories of money. So I want you to ask the person you're interviewing, your parent, your grandparent, your aunt, your uncle, or whoever it is that you choose, the person that you admire and you respect and you want to learn from. I want you to ask them about their first memories of money. And I want you to think about that question for yourself as well. Your first memory of money. Maybe it's probably going to be when you were a small child. Hopefully you can remember that far back. And hopefully the person you interview can also remember when they were a small child. And maybe it was earning an allowance or money that was earned at a job. Maybe it was your first job, your first paycheck. Maybe it was, the tooth fairy or allowance. But that's what I want you to think about for yourself, your first memories of money. And then I want you to do the same thing in your interview. I want you to ask that same question. It's a great way to open the interview. It's a great way to set the table for the rest of the interview. So, your first memories of money. And again, you'll have to set the table just like I did. You'll have to set the table by saying, it may be your first paycheck. It may have been the first time you did a small job for someone in your family. It may be the tooth fairy. So, whatever it is, your first memory of money. And as you think about your first memory of money, you're going to have some recollection. You're going to start to experience kind of an emotional level of remembering that first memory of money, because it's typically going to be a good memory or maybe not such a good memory. I'm going to share with you a video. It's from my book, Make Your Money Count. One of my best clients who recently passed away, who shared his first memory of money with me early on as I was beginning to work for this gentleman as his financial planner, serving his family. It's my Uncle Hank. It's a very powerful story to me. It was a very helpful story for me as a financial planner for Hank. So that is in the assignment, the video. I believe it is somewhere. Yeah. So here's a video. There's a link in your assignment for that video, and it's just it's from my book, Make Your Money Count, but it will set the table for you. It will help you. So that's part of your homework. And then when you do the interview, you'll be doing the interview just like I did with my Uncle Hank. So I'll just tell you a little bit about my experience when I asked these questions to my Uncle Hank, and you'll get to see this again when you watch the video. You'll hear it again. You won't get to see me interviewing Hank. That would have been pretty cool, but I wish I could see that. I wish I could just spend a few more minutes with him. I miss my Uncle Hank, one of the best people I ever knew in my life. And it was always a pleasure to serve him and his family as a financial planner. I still serve his family. But so when I met with Hank, we actually went for a walk out in the country, Bowling Green, Kentucky, and I'll never forget that day. We're out there walking, and I told him I was going to ask him some questions that would help me better understand what matters most to him so that I could help put together a financial plan for him. So one of the first questions I asked is, what was your first memory of money? And what he told me was pretty profound. So it was profound because it was such an emotional event for Hank. And this is what happens a lot of times when I ask this question to clients or prospective clients or people who I'm about to work with as a financial planner. The question is, what's your first memories of money? But the answers start to reveal something very important about the person that you're interviewing. And one of the things that is revealed is how that first memory of money kind of shapes your attitude, your way of thinking, and ultimately your behavior when it comes to money. And so for Uncle Hank, his first memory of money was very powerful. It was the first and maybe the only time he saw his father break down and cry. So his first memory of money, he was in a family that they raised pigs. In my book, I think I said they raised cows. My editor suggested that. But the truth is, they raised pigs. The family did. And it's one of the things they still do. It's their tradition to come together as a family, and they slaughter a pig and make sausage, and it's a community event, and they feed the whole community. And it's just a beautiful thing. I've never had the privilege of being there, but I've heard so many stories about that beautiful family experience, community experience that Hank did. But here is the story. Hank came home one day, and his father was sitting at the kitchen table, and he was weeping. And the story was Hank discovered that year, so the way it worked as a pig farmer is you raise these pigs, and then one day you sell them to a broker. I'm not sure what you call the person who buys the pigs, but they come with a truck and they pay you money or a contract. You sign a contract, they pick up the pigs. In this case, Hank's dad signed a contract and delivered the pigs to this broker, and he, maybe you can guess what happened next. He absconded. He ran off with all of those pigs that they'd spent the entire year raising, investing in, taking care of. And so he sold them to this broker who was going to take the pigs to the slaughterhouse and sell the pork bellies and the hams and all of the things that come from pigs, even pork rinds, and sausage and all of the things that come from pigs. And so what happened is this person lied to my Uncle Hank's dad, and they were in a terrible financial situation because that was their entire year's income. Imagine if your job paid you one time a year. And that's what happened in their family. And so it was a very emotional story that Hank told me. And what was really interesting to me, and this is where I hope that you can discover some things when you do this interview. What was very fascinating to me, and is always fascinating to me because I'm interested in psychology. Sorry, my phone just rang. I should turn it off. Let me do that. Turn my phone off, which is something you should do. I used to ask in class, I would ask everybody to turn your phone off, but today we're not in class, so we're not doing that. But I am going to try something real quick just for fun. I hope you can hear that. I had all these cool things set up in my new little studio, and it's not all working, and I'm very sorry for that. Back to the story. Back to your assignment. So you're going to interview someone just like I did Hank. And what I'm hoping that you learn, that you discover, that you experience is some insights into how this person thinks about money. And as you do that, if you're willing to pay attention and learn from this person, what you're going to learn, it's very intuitive. You don't have to be a you don't have to be a psychology student to understand and recognize what I'm about to say. But what happens is you start to understand, you start to recognize that there are some patterns in this person's life when it comes to how they manage money. And if you're wise enough and you're able to reflect enough, you'll discover the same thing is true for you. That your first memories of money are a very important kind of mirror into your own soul, your own way of thinking about money. And so for Hank, the way that it affected him, this first memory of money, this experience that he had with money, was he became a very frugal person, which, if you don't know what that term means, it's kind of a funny term. You might want to Google it. Frugality is a virtue. Frugality means to make every penny go as far as it can, and to be very careful about saving and spending. It goes back to that first law of personal finance, the law of spending and saving. Spend more than you earn, so that you no spend more than you earn. No, save more than you earn, so that you can. I forgot how it goes. The law of spending and saving. Spend less than you earn so you can save more for what matters most. So that's really what frugality is all about. And so for Hank, what happened was his experience made him afraid, made him really want to hang on to every penny. And he shared this story with me, and he told me the good and the bad about that whole attitude about money. And the good part was he had accumulated a significant amount of wealth for his family. And that was great. That was good. That was awesome. But he shared with me some of the pain that came from being so frugal, because he lived in a state of kind of anxiety, a low-level anxiety, so that he felt like he could never spend money. And so he, he shared that with me, and it was an insight that really helped me not only understand Hank and his approach, his philosophy, his way of thinking about and behaving around money, but it also helped me as a financial planner understand that everybody has some experience, some first memory of money that very often shapes their attitudes and their behaviors when it comes to how they manage money. So that's what I'm hoping you can learn for yourself this week a little bit. But sometimes it's easier to learn from someone else's story. And so that's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to go out and ask someone to share their story with you. Your job is to orchestrate the interview so that you get to extract from them the information that will help you kind of put the pieces together so that you can see their life story and how they were impacted by their first memory of money and how they decided, how they made decisions in their lifetime, what shaped those decisions. And it will help you. I promise it will help you moving forward as you start to reflect on and think about your own attitudes and behaviors when it comes to managing money. So here's a few things you need to be aware of related to this assignment. Especially be aware that you're going to be asking questions about money and how they manage money. And sometimes their response will be very emotional. Like I told you the story about Hank, his response was emotional. I've had so many interviews where people tell me stories about their first memory of money that involve some kind of hardship, some kind of, not having enough money. And if you think about it, when you ask these questions, the person you're interviewing may have some painful experiences, some painful memories. So be respectful of that. Just know that in this interview, you are basically asking someone to share from their heart something that may involve some pain. And that's okay. Your job is just to be present with them and to listen and to observe and maybe ask a few good follow-up questions. But all the time, I want you to be respectful and grateful. So let me talk a little bit about being grateful. If you recognize by now at this point that what I'm asking you to do in this assignment is something that will involve you being direct and open and honest with someone else, setting the table by telling them you have this assignment you have to do. You're supposed to go find someone that you respect, that you admire, who you can learn from by asking them some very personal questions that relate to money and their financial decisions and so on. So you got to set the table when you reach out to this person and tell them, what is this interview about? Because it's important for you to do that. That the only way this interview is going to be meaningful for you and the other person is if you do your job well. So you have to set the table. You have to help them understand that this is just not a phone call. You need them to have some, be intentional about eliminating distractions, and you have to do the same. This isn't just a random, oh, by the way. If you do it that way, it's just not going to be the same experience for you or the person you're interviewing. So please pay attention to those details and really always be respectful. And back to gratitude. If this goes the way it often goes, you will be grateful. You will be thankful for what you learned from this person who is willing to share their story and part of their life with you. You will be grateful. You'll be thankful because you will be receiving a gift. And so not only do I want you to go into the interview with a sense of gratitude, but I want you to tell them how grateful you are, how thankful you are. In your own words, I want you to tell them how meaningful it is for you to be able to learn from them, to gain from their perspectives, their experience over their lifetime about how they manage money. So you can see now why this is not an interview for your roommate. This is not an interview for your cousin. This is an interview for someone who's older than you. Now, if for whatever reason it's not a family member, it still needs to be someone who is in the an older age group. So you could interview someone you respect and admire. You know, it might be a professor, it might be um, someone at work, someone in your community who you know, who you respect, who you admire. That's my challenge to you. That's your homework. So again, if you do someone young, and you tell me, oh, I did my cousin, I'm going to be like, you didn't really watch our Zoom meeting. Or you were on the uh, actual Zoom meeting, and you couldn't hear me, which is kind of my fault. So I guess I should make sure I put that in the assignment, which I will do before I post it. So, all right, here we go. I think that's it for this review. Um, I'm going to scroll down. Yeah, by the way, you don't need a lot of words when you do your assignment. I just want a brief summary of your interview. I want to know what your experience was, any insights that you had, and that'll be fine. It's not an 800 to 1,000 word article in this case. So that would be good. And that's parental interview week number 4. So now I'm going to jump into, let's see if I can go back. I want to just show you the assignments that are coming. So let's do that. Let me jump into uh, Blackboard and just show you the assignments that are coming. So you can't see these assignments because they're not visible in your Blackboard. But what I want you to see here is we've got 2 assignments. So the week 4, week 5, week 6, we're a week behind. So what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to combine this one, week 5, culture of consumerism. I'm going to combine that with the other assignment, which is uh, let's see if I can go back. I think I want to open both of these. Duplicate tab. Let's see if I can do this. I'm going to try and go back and open uh, Credit Crush. So now I've got Credit Crush in one tab, Culture of Consumerism. So these are 2 assignments for 2 different weeks that I am going to be putting into one assignment. So it shouldn't. It will keep us on track. It will be one assignment worth 100 points instead of 2 assignments worth 50 points each. And so I want you to just know that I'm going to double up, but you may not even recognize it. So I'm just trying to kind of highlight what to expect moving forward so that you're not confused about your assignments in Blackboard. Because of the hurricane, I got to do something for us to catch up, and that's what I'm planning on doing, is combining these 2 assignments. So in next week's assignment, not this week's assignment, well, this week, the one that I'm going to post for this week is the parental interview. That will be due next Tuesday at 10 a.m., just like always. But then when we do next week's assignment, I'll tell you about the assignment that you'll be doing for the following week. And I just want to give you a heads up that next week you're going to get a kind of a double assignment. And I would do that this week, except next week, the assignment for week number 5, rather, which would have been this week if we didn't have a week off. But week number 5 and week number 6 really go together hand in glove. And so it'll work out really well for us to combine those 2 assignments, which we'll talk about next Tuesday. This week, it's the parental interview. So I wish I could answer questions, but I'm not seeing any questions. Let me jump on over to, I'm going to jump on over to YouTube and see if I can just see if there's any questions. So if you have a question, go ahead. If you're watching on YouTube live, post the question, and I'm going to log into YouTube right now and see if I can do this on my iPad. Let's see. I'll see if I can show you my iPad. And I can. Hey, let's see. show you my eye. Something weird is happening. Uh, I'm getting feedback. I apologize so much for the terrible technology issues that I'm having. Okay, now it's not letting me log in. Hold on. Give me just a minute. Let's see if I can log in. Not now. Okay, so I'm jumping into Money Study Group. You can't see that, but I am jumping into Money Study Group and I see that we're live now. So I'm going to open that on my iPad and I'm going to like it. I just liked it and I'm going to jump down and see. Now I don't see any comments. Don't know why. There's 11 people watching, so there's not too many people watching on YouTube. I don't know why I don't see comments. Maybe I didn't enable comments. At any rate, I don't see any comments, so I can't take any questions right now. I'm very sorry for that. So it's 10:38 a.m. I spent 6 minutes doing nothing but trying to figure out why we didn't have sound in Zoom. And so this has not been the most productive Zoom meeting. I promise you I will get things fixed for next week if if I work out of my home studio again. This is new, by the way. I'll just tell you a little story before I leave. Before we leave, if you want to hear it, I'm going to talk about bargaining and negotiating. That's one of your assignments, one of our lessons. So I had to do some bargaining and negotiating this week because I didn't have sufficient internet at home. You know, we missed a class because the office was closed. And so I had to do some work at home to get better internet and to get something set up. So I saved a bunch of money on my internet, doubled my speed with Comcast. So I'm really thankful for them. It seems the internet is not an issue right now. It's some other things that I need to figure out. But anyway, I was able to do that. And then they told me they do mobile phones. So I was with Verizon and I moved to Comcast and saved over about $130 a month. So all told, I saved like $170 a month just because we had a hurricane and I had to figure out a way to get things set up so that I could work from home. And so it's been a challenging week, all of those changes. I had to install a mesh internet router, which is very cool, gives me super high speed internet everywhere on my property. The problem is right now I haven't got the mic working for Zoom. So that I will get fixed, and I apologize. So if you have questions about your assignment, if you have questions about anything, in fact, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to turn my phone back on, and I'm going to tell you before I leave, I want to make sure I answer any questions you have. So since we're having technology difficulties, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my phone and check my text messages. So let me go, I'll just go in here and where will I put this? Let's see. There we go. I'm going to put my phone number in here. I'm going to say text your questions to me now. And I'm going to put my phone number. This is scary. Putting your phone number out there on the worldwide internet is, yeah, it's kind of scary, but that's what I'm doing. So test. That's what I misspelled it. Yeah. My credibility is just going out the window today. I am obviously not the best guy to run the technology behind the curtain, but I am doing the best I can do right now, and I appreciate your patience. I really do. And I'm sorry we didn't get together last week. Okay, so I am unlocking my phone, and I'm about to check my text messages. And if you have questions, this is the best way to get your question answered. My phone seems to remember. I have new phone service. I have new internet. Let's see. My phone is waking up. It's an iPhone 7 Plus. I'm waiting for the messages to come on board to see if I have any questions, comments. Comments are good too. If you're listening, if you can hear me and you're watching, send me a text message and just say, hey, this is George. I hear you. I'm looking. I'm not seeing any text messages. I hope that doesn't mean that my phone service stopped working. So, no messages. So I'm going to go for a couple more minutes, and I'm going to hope that if you have a question, now's a good time to send me a text message. But nobody's sending me a text message, so I'm going to assume that I answered all your questions, and I'll go now get to work and post your assignment. And if you send me text, if you have questions later, you're welcome. Hey, I got a message. Only the week 4 parental interview assignment is due for this week, right? Yes, that's correct. And then next week, we have 2 assignments in one. That is correct. Just wanted to double check that. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your input. You didn't tell me your name, and I don't know because you're not in my iPhone. If you tell me your name, I'll save you in my iPhone, and you can even count this as class participation. So this week's class participation will be to go ahead and just leave a comment either in YouTube, Facebook, or in Money Study Group, and just leave a short comment. Positive or negative, or just your experience with the interview. It doesn't have to be personal, but do leave something as your comment. That's your class participation activity for this week. So whoever this is, you can claim this for your class participation if you'd like. But yes, to answer your question, this week the assignment is the parental interview, and that will be due Tuesday at 10 a.m. as usual. But then next week we're going to do a combined assignment so that we stay on track to finish on time, and that will involve 2 assignments that will be combined into one. It'll be worth 100 points. And so before we wrap it up, let me remind you, those of you who are turning your assignments in early, I really appreciate that. You had no you weren't disrupted by the hurricane because you'd already turned your assignment in, and you got a 20% extra points for that. 20% extra, that was 10 points on a 50-point assignment. So when I do the combined assignment, which is worth 100 points, you'll get an extra 20 points if you turn it in early and you don't miss any of the components in the assignment. If you do miss something, you get a heads up from me saying, fix this, turn it in by Tuesday at 10, and I'll still give you the extra points. Why do you think I do that in a class on personal finance? Here's why. I should ask you to answer this, but we're having technology difficulties, so here's why. Because money management and time management, they go hand in glove. They're very much related. And so what happens with most students is assignments are due and they get done the last minute. And that's how I find so many people live their life. Everything is last minute, and that creates anxiety, it creates stress. And so with money management, the bill comes due and you pay the minimum, and it's the same kind of deal with money. If you manage money in a more proactive way, just like if you manage your time in a more proactive way, you have so many additional options. So the opportunities increase. And I just want to try to teach you that with every tool in my toolbox. And so one of the tools that I grab out of my toolbox is the timing and the points that I give you for these assignments. So there's a reason for that. I'm trying to teach you how to be good money managers, but you have to be a good manager of your time if you're really, those two habits, those two approaches to life are very similar. And so take advantage of that opportunity. So I see a text message. If I turn in my assignment early but did not get my extra credit, what do I need to do? Hey Tanya, that's a great question. You can text me and I will fix it. And by texting me, that would be even better, because then I would have kind of a to-do list right there. And I'll do it as soon as I end this call, Tanya. I'm sorry if that happened. Um, if you turned it in early by Friday at 3 p.m., you should have gotten extra points unless you missed something. But, and here's where it gets a little tricky for me. If you miss something and I send it back to you and I say, hey, fix this, then when you send it back in, it's difficult for me to recognize that you turned it in early and then you fixed it subsequently because of my directions. So, a little hint, when you turn, if you, and Tanya, I don't know if this is your situation, but anyone who does find that you turn it in early, you get some kickback from me, and you fix it, and then you turn it in again by Tuesday at 10 a.m., and you don't get the extra points, it's because it's almost impossible for me to, with all the assignments I'm grading, it's hard for me to recognize, hey, this is a resubmit and I deserve some extra points because I promised you would get those extra points. So how to fix that is very simple. You just simply tell me, this is weird. I'm looking at myself here on anyway, sorry. You just tell me that you're resubmitting and that you deserve extra points. If you just put that in the little note section when you turn the assignment in, just to flag me, I'll see that. And if I miss it, just send me a text message. You can send me an email, but text messages are super fast. And you can group me, but I'm not checking group me very often. I have Bridget's doing a great job interfacing with me through you. And so I'm hoping your questions are getting answered in group me. And I feel like I'm spying on you when I go in and watch all your comments. So I will jump in there every now and again, but I'm not interacting with you too much on group me. So hello, Professor. I was wondering, who are we allowed to interview for this assignment? So again, and you still didn't tell me your name, so probably smart, because by now you've already admitted you didn't pay attention throughout the beginning or the middle or the crux of this call. So yeah, you can't do people your age, and you had to switch over to YouTube. Okay, good. I appreciate that. So you missed it because you switched over to YouTube. My bad. Sorry, I was dogging you. So if you can hear me now, I hope it's good. Here's the deal. You can interview a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle. If you can't access your family, like if for whatever reason, hopefully you will interview someone in your family. That would be ideal. If you can't, though, then look around your community for someone that you admire, someone you respect, who you think would be able to share some good insights about money management and how they managed money. So, yeah, don't interview your roommate, don't interview your cousin. It needs to be someone older than you that has some more experience in life. So, hopefully that helps. Thanks for the question. I appreciate that too. Okay, so I still don't know who you are, though. 832. I'm not going to say your whole number because this is going out on the worldwide internet as I speak. Okay, so I see you're sending me something. I don't want to. Oh, okay, thanks. I don't want to say your name without your permission, but I appreciate it. Now I know who you are. And you've been great, by the way, in this course interacting. So I'm so glad I got to answer your question. And if you have questions and you're watching this later, like at 2 a.m., I'm sure I'll be awake, not. But whenever you do watch this, I'm going to post the link to this video in GroupMe. And if you're watching this and you have a question, you're welcome to send me a text message. It will be on the video screen. Okay. Oh, yeah, you know what? I should have known who this was because I had another text message from you, but I'm not going to say your name. Anyway, Again, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties. I don't know what happened, but I'll get it fixed. We'll get audio in group in Zoom for next week. I'll probably be in my office next week. Today I wanted to test drive my new little studio, and I'm sorry to say something didn't work. So thank you for your patience. Have a great week. Don't forget, text me if you have a question. First, try GroupMe. That's always the best way. And if you can't get an answer, you're welcome to text me and I'll give you an answer. My answer might be check GroupMe. If you didn't watch the video, watch the video. That's the answer most of the time. So see you next week. Have a great week, and we'll get back on track next week. Thanks, and I'm going to end this call now. I'm going to check one more time, see if I have any messages. No messages, so here we go. Thanks. Have a great week. I'm going to close it out now. And finish.